Yeah, I've got to cool down a little bit. How many people remember Kelly from when we started? A few. She is blossoming, or we've blossomed and we can accept her. It's so perfect. So I want to take the idea that Kelly sang about, and that was reaching for higher ground. And what I come to understand as I go through this life and as I study, as I embody these ideas that are coming, is that we are constantly reaching for a greater understanding of what spirit is. What is universal intelligence? And then what is our relationship to it? You see, to know or to have an idea of what spirit is one thing, but to not be connected and have an idea of what is our relationship to that, there's absolutely no meaning to life then. And so we come to this idea that we embody here each and every week, and we explore it intellectually, but it cannot be explored intellectually, even though as much as we try, because words simply limit what we call God, what we call universal mind. It is intelligence that radiates in and through in everything. It is the seen and it is the unseen. It is the known and it is the unknown. It is that which it was, is, and is yet to be. There is nothing that God is not. There's no place that God is not. It's everywhere. Even where we don't know anywhere exists. Here's the fascinating thing. Knowing that about this mind, this presence, this love, this way of just being God, we're one with it. We are that individualized. And when we expand this mind, this individual mind that we are, to a greater realization of that which we are, that we're more than this body temple, we are an infinite idea expressing and experiencing and always seeking to become more. And so we've been exploring this idea of the power of an idea for the last few weeks. And so today we're going to take it to another level. We talked about at the very beginning is that what separates us from everything else that we're aware of is our ability to use our mind to imagine, to think beyond where we are to what is seen, to take our minds and create something that has never been experienced before. And sometimes when we're kids, our imaginations are just blossoming. And as we get older, we stop that imagination. We say, well, this is reality, and we must deal with this reality over here. But in truth, our imagination is there to cause us to seek for higher ground. Because without an imagination, we remain constant. We never go any further in our expression and our experience. So we're always imagining more. We're always seeking more. It's the natural impulse that is within us. It is a physical impulse to create more. It is the mental impress to create more. It is the spiritual impress to create more, because divine is infinite, and in that infinite nature, more must come forth. And so we've got this idea that we can imagine. And then as we've got this imagination, this field of unlimited possibilities all in front of us, moving and moving and moving, we get to go and say, I want that one. And then I want that one. And what we do by that is we create a desire. We create this internal desire that we want something more in our lives. And we get that desire. We allow that desire to percolate, to become more. But the key thing is we give that desire power by determining the why we want it. The greater the why we have behind our desire, the greater the power that we have toward reaching that desire. Because if there's no why to lose weight, there's no weight being lost. If it's just, I want to be 10 pounds lighter, there's nothing there. But if I want to lose weight so that I can have this body in a position that I can do the type of service work that brings me the greatest joy, now I've got something of a why that says, okay, now I will live and I will become that person I've chosen to be, to do what I want to love to do. So why is it that we all can imagine and we can all have desires and we can all put a why behind the desires? Why is it that some reach it and some don't? And some we make and some we won't. What is it about that? I'm going to suggest to you it is the idea of persistence. That when we have a persistent behavior, a persistent way of thought, a persistent way of looking at things, we now anchor ourselves into that truth so that every aspect about who we are is going in that direction. So I want to go to the idea that persistence and prayer go hand in hand. And you're going to say, what does that mean? Well, if you recall going back to ancient wisdom, Jesus said very clearly, pray unceasingly. So that what he was saying was that life is a prayer. It's a prayer that never stops. So what is a prayer that never stops but a persistent pattern of living? It's a pattern of living where the mind is focused on the thing that is desired. It is focused on the why. It is focused on building it. It is focused on thinking about it. It is focused on acting upon it. Everything becomes focused. So this idea of persistence equals becoming. And so what we've come to understand is that there's a natural evolution in life. And that life is always seeking to evolve, and we will never get everything we want in this moment because that's not what life's about. It's about the savoring of the process and the journey and the experience we have toward reaching these goals, because as soon as one goal is really close to being reached, a new one blossoms from it, or it expands and becomes more. So the persistent behavior that we've got is one of thinking in the direction of what we want, putting our actions in alignment with that, aligning ourselves in this moment as to what would that feel like to be in that place. And so the movement toward it becomes a movement of such joy. It's not Christmas morning opening the present. It's the whole process of coming and moving toward it, that there is an expanding, a greater building of joy. And that joy keeps on going higher and higher and higher because of the persistent direction in that. Wow. How many times have we put that imagination to work? How many times have we built that desire and had the why? How many times were we on our way to achieving what we wanted, and then we just stopped? Because someone, something, a group said something, and it burst our bubble. It took our mind off of where we were going. And what we did was we gave our power away. We gave our power away because we didn't understand that the only approval we need to ever have in life is our own. We don't need our mother, our father's, our children's approval, our grandparents' approval. We do not need our spouse's approval, our partner's approval. We need no other approval in life than the one that we have, identifying with ourselves as the individualization of the one come forth with an imagination, with a desire, desiring to express more life. You see, our only purpose in this world is to express more life. It's not to please someone. That's something someone made up to control people. So we've got to let that go and take and claim our freedom. Our freedom is our innate birthright, and that freedom is that we get to imagine, we get to desire, we get to create the why, we get to be persistent, and we get to experience that. So how do we build this habit of persistent behavior? First step, and you've heard this before, but we're going to repeat it. You must have a clear purpose. You must have a desired outcome. Without a desired outcome, there's no place to go. Do you hear that? And when you have a desired outcome, you've got to speak it. You've got to let it be known. You've got to ask for what you want now because you want it now. If you're not speaking it out, who's going to know? if you're not putting out all of your thoughts in a high vibration, emotionally attached, feeling nature to the universe, how's it going to know to give it to you? What the universe does, what the law does, what the aspect of God that creates does, it takes the predominant thought pattern that we have and it creates. It does not judge what that thought pattern is. So our role is to imagine, to build a desire, and then to start the process of a persistent act of behavior or thoughts of behavior that are there, that are giving the infinite intelligence, this is the majority of all that I am. And when it hears that and it sees it's all, it says, of course. And the creation takes place. And then what happens is, as we continue with our persistent behavior, the more we keep it, the more we continue with it, we become the individual who would be in and living the dream. And when we become the vibration of that which we seek, what we seek naturally comes to us. We do not have to force it. You following that? Now I'm not saying there's not work. There's tremendous work. Being persistent means aligning all of your thoughts and all of your actions in the direction of that dream. So, we talked about a definite plan with a desire and a why. Now, we've got to have a plan of action. We've got to now create from our mind, which is God's mind, a way of stepping into that dream. So we start building our plan as to how that's going to unfold, and we listen for that divine wisdom, that divine guidance, and we realize that the power to do something does not come from someone else. It is not the way they do it, it is the way that you do it. Because here's what happens. So often people say, well, follow this model, or follow this model, or follow this model. Well, none of those people are like us. They're all different from us. But you know what? You are the mind of God. And as you are the mind of God, that internal wisdom is right here. So any step that you need to achieve your goal, when you listen, comes to you. And so the plan is not a human plan. It's a divine plan that you've summoned from within you. And when you're working with the divine, you will be guided on a step-by-step approach to it. And so as we're moving toward that goal, we don't care about the timing. We let go of this idea that it has to happen within a specific amount of time. All we know is we are on a journey toward our amazing imaginary desire. And being on that journey is enough for us because we're constantly moving. As we're moving toward that dream, what are we surrounded with? Joy, enthusiasm, creativity, love, peace. We've got excitement because we are in the creative flow. So in the creative flow on our way to that end result, it doesn't get any better. Are you feeling that? Right now you are on a journey, and right now it can't feel any better if you allow yourself to feel. So we have this idea of continuous action. Now we've got to reject anything that contradicts our dream. Anything in society, whether it be doctors and lawyers or television or parents or spouses or children or grandparents, newspapers, you name it. Anything that rejects, that's contrary to what you desire to be, they're not coming from the divine perspective. They're coming from a limited perspective, the human perspective that is bound, boxed, and dead. The divine perspective has no limits. It does not care how old you are as you pursue your dream, what sex you are, what your past has been. It only knows that what you desire, when you give it enough juice, enough thought, enough feeling, emotion, it will be yours. It may not look the exact way you might have in your mind, and that's why we keep open, but it's going to show itself, and you're going to get to experience its bliss. So we've got to let go of anything to the contrary of our dream. A lot of times it's said, go into the closet and pray. In other words, don't let your prayers fall on ears who will critique and mock and knock and say it's impossible. So where does that leave the fourth step? Surround yourself by building a support system that only nurtures your dreams. You want people that are constantly there for you saying, what do you want? I can support you in that. How can I offer you whatever support you need? Is it an idea? Is it a helping hand? Is it a place to just be? It is not to come together and say, oh my God, you poor thing, this is what's going wrong. You see, when you come together in a group and we form a group and we say, oh, you poor thing, and we do the sympathizing routine, what vibration, what energy, what thought pattern are we putting out? We're putting out a pattern that's going to bring us more of what we're doing the sympathizing about. You see, this power is precise. It is very precise. And so if we want to use it with a laser cutting edge to create our lives, we have to take the responsibility to be persistent in how we approach ourselves moving toward it. So we define that imaginary idea, the imagination that the idea that through our imagination we desire. We build the why behind that desire. We give it its juice, and we're always seeking to build a greater why. And the more you choose to understand why you do what you do, it's going to come greater and greater and greater. My belief, and this is my belief, is that when you seek that why, it will come back to feeling joy. It will come back to feeling peace of mind. It will come back to feeling oneness. Because as you explore this over and over and over again, when you are in a state where you have complete peace of mind, where you are feeling an inner sense of joy, a connection with all that is, there's nothing more. But it's addictive because we want to have that feeling again. And you see, that's the creative desire. It's to come and it's to spur within us the desire. Let's imagine some more. Let's go to the field of infinite possibility and imagine it even greater. You see, the infinite field of possibility, as quantum physics says, is always there for us. Everything is everywhere present, all at the same time. All we have to do is open our eyes to it, collapse it. Collapse it means focus on it. Be persistent in how you look at it, speak about it, think about it, and act on it. And when we do that with an organized plan moving toward it, the Japanese called that plan Kaizen. That plan means taking one step each day in the direction of that which you want. At the end of the year, you will have made a quantum leap towards your goal, towards your desire, toward the experience you want. So the question we should ask when we wake up every morning is, what one step can I take today that will create my dream? What is that one next step? So as we've been talking the last few weeks, you've been dreaming. It's Christmas time. You're dreaming. You're now saying, what do I want? And you anchor it and you find your why. If you want a new partner, you want a different relationship, if you want money, if you want health, whatever it is you're seeking, find a why that is so powerful that you will not be deterred. Once you've found that, take steps in that direction. One step after another in that direction. Listen to nobody that offers you a contrary opinion. And find a few loving people who will support you, who will love you, who will say, you can do this. They will hold you with a vision that you've already achieved that which you want. And together, because we're all one, our dreams come true. So your assignment this week is simple. What is your next step? Each and every day, what is that next step that will allow you to experience your dream?